Hello, it's your girl JANWINS, and it is still the month of March. It is our Women's History Month. It is our International Women's History Month. And this is the month in which I was ordained, my miracle month. And so on this next couple of episodes, we will be celebrating this historical month that was so special to me. An opportunity that was afforded to me by my pastor, and you will meet other leaders who will give you insight into their call. So we ask you to stay tuned and just know that when God appoints you to a situation, that he absolutely anoints you, and that the calling and the ministry is not about you, but it's always about those lives that you will impact. So I ask you to stay tuned.
And I'm doing fine and delighted to be here and spend some time with my friend Jenny's, Reverend Winstead, Reverend Dr. Winstead.
Okay.
In that regard. So that's what I'll say ultimately. But I love that there are different levels to the calling. And typically all we're doing is responding, because it's call and response. See, God's the one that calls. The question is how you respond.
How old were you when you realized that there was a call on your life to ministry, to preach?
Yeah, I was probably about 12 when I really felt a burden to preach in the ministry. My father was of the mind, I'm not letting you be no kid preacher. You can't preach until after you get out of high school. I want you to live your life and not be under an undue burden. So I felt the call, but I didn't start preaching until I was a student at Morehouse.
Wow. Okay. I don't know, were you aware at some point in your adolescence that there was something, I guess, I don't want to say different about you, but I guess in the mirror image of what your parents reflected, did you know that there was something different, or that you had purpose early on?
I did. I really never thought my purpose was to pastor,
Mm.
really to be fully engaged in social justice and civil rights. I saw myself following the model of my mentors, Reverend Jackson and Reverend Al Sharpton, and really thought that would be the path that I would follow.
Hello, it's your girl JANWINS, and I have the pleasure of fellowshipping today with my friend and brother, the Reverend Craig Williams, pastor of the Greater St. Stephen's United Church of God. And I'm so happy to be here with you, bro.
I'm glad you're here with me.
We know that you had been in ministry. We talked about that. You saw it and you really began to seek God. You went into seminary and evolved as a man of God yourself. When do you think, or when did you ever recognize that you were possibly being trained for the position now? When do you think that kind of happened?
Very early. My dad always talked to me not like if, but more like when. When it's your time. When you... And the amazing thing about that to me was that I wasn't always in that space.
That's right.
Spiritually, emotionally, I wasn't there. But every time he had those when conversations with me, I now realize that he was speaking over my life and prophesying over my life, what I was going to do, what I was going to be. So I never thought anything else. Like even when I was doing music and everything, it was just like, let me just do this until...
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was always that, until... Now I was going to say until God gets ready for me, but until I got ready for God.
Yes.
And that's been, I thank God for him for that. He was always preparing me, training me. And it was important for him, like not only to be prepared, because he was the one that said, you need to go to seminary. I didn't get a chance to go. I was working, I had the family, I was building a church, I was doing other things, didn't have an opportunity to go. I want you to go. And so he was always supportive in those regards to higher education and everything. But it was always important for him to love the people. That was what, even one of the last things that he said to me, he grabbed me by the hand And maybe a week before he passed, 2 weeks before he passed, he said, you're gonna be a good pastor.
Okay.
He said, because you love people like I love people.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
I thank God for him.
I
thank
agree
God for
about
him.
that.
Yeah.
That is very true about you.
Thank God for him.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
See, God's the one that calls. The question is how you respond. And sometimes you need, more importantly, again, when I see in my Bible, you have some outside authority verifying. It just ain't you and God. It's you and God and somebody else. That's the point. Now, see, you got to see. That's the day. I told you, that's me when I'm real. You need some other type of validation besides your conversation with God. God got to be talking to somebody else too.
That's right.
That's what happened with Paul. God spoke with Ananias and Paul. God spoke to Paul first and told him, okay, you do this, now you go. And then God spoke to Ananias and says, Paul's coming. He said, are you this guy right here? I know his story. God says, no, lay hands on him. This is what you're supposed to do. And I think that's our point, to be able to trust God in our calling, to know that there's another level.
So I went roller skating, trying out a new pond, trying out a new place, to just go and meet people and just share my witness. But unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. So you just have to trust God and the Holy Spirit and His leading. That is God ultimately that draws people to you. But you know what? I did have some fun. And so I enjoyed reliving an aspect of my life nostalgically that I had long forgotten. I'll see you next week.